Service Dog Universe is back. Yes, it is my second video that I've posted today, and yes, I did not get this video out on time, but you guys don't mind, right? Anyway, if you're watching this video, you must be a service dog handler showing this to your boyfriend. Anyway, I'm gonna go over some advice or tips or what have you for dating a service dog handler. And I'm making this video because I think, one, service dog handlers would appreciate something like a source out there for their significant other. And also, I think that people who have a service dog handler as their significant other would enjoy this video, especially when you struggle with transitioning from normal life to service dog handler life, or when you're struggling with what do I do if we're confronted in public and my handler person is having a meltdown. So I'm gonna go over everything that was suggested to me for this video from friends and acquaintances in different groups. One of them being pretty much the number one thing is be supportive. Because, I mean, when you're in a regular, gotta watch my wording there, when you're in a relationship with two able-bodied people, both need support. And when you're in a relationship with an able-bodied person and somebody who is disabled and handles a service dog, they need support, both probably physically, mentally, and, you know, just everything. We have to handle a lot. Crap from families, crap from churches, crap from Facebook friends of friends. Why do you need that dog? And you know, biggest thing being crap from the public. So when you guys are confronted with that, you gotta be supportive through everything, because you know your handler has gone through surgeries, medication, different medical equipments, different therapies and doctor's visits, and this service dog is probably a last resort for them. And even if it's not, you need to be supportive of them for having this dog, because they've already gone through hell trying to figure out what works for them. And if the dog works for them, then you need, guys, I have one earring in, kill me. You need to be supportive. So that is the biggest thing. And being supportive means not complaining when the dog is coming out with you, which I would like to say is a given, but it's not, because a lot of people are complaining when the handler has to take the dog and you're, oh, but this is a really nice event, it's a wedding. Like, okay, so it doesn't matter if you're going to a grocery store or prom, wedding, or whatever big event you're going to, the dog is still needed. It doesn't, the need for the dog doesn't decrease just because the event is special or more formal or something. And even if it's going to be like difficult for you guys to navigate, like if you're going to a concert, you have to be supportive. You can't, oh, I'll be there for you. I'll be there. I'll take care of you. Like, listen, we love you. We do. We love you as our significant other. But if you are somebody who is always finding yourself saying like, oh, I can do this, I can help you, you know, you're not realizing what the dog is capable of. You cannot smell a decrease in blood sugar. You cannot smell, you know, increases in cortisol levels. You cannot, I mean, you can tell when your person is, you know, getting to the point where they're about to have an episode, I'm sure, but dogs are way better than humans at reading body language. And they have senses that you don't. And you have to understand that. Their ability to read body language is 1,000 times better than yours. They can do amazing things. And not that you can't, but they are there for a reason. We have them. Come here, Ace. Come here, come in the video. Say hello. Puppy. You can see the top of his head because he's big boy. So yeah, make sure you're being supportive in every way possible. And I'm not trying to say, let us do whatever we want to do just because we're disabled. I'm just saying, when we need to bring the dog, you can't argue. We're disabled, guys. We need the medical equipment to function in public. And that's a huge thing. It's really huge. So make sure you're being supportive. Another really huge one that people brought up to me was sticking up for us. So I think it's a lot of times, like in public, if a restaurant is trying to say you can't come in with the dog, or if a member of the public is being super rude. And when I say super rude, people get aggressive, guys. Like, you have to stick up for us. People with psychiatric issues might have a meltdown during that time. Somebody who has like really chronic illness might not have the energy to argue or the energy to defend themselves. So when you're face to face with an issue like that, and maybe you yourself don't like confrontation, but I understand that. I think we all do. I think if you yourself really can't handle confrontation, at least get your handler out of the situation, or stick up for them as much as you possibly can. Maybe you would feel more confident if you knew the laws. So read up on the laws, know them like the back of your hand, because we all do. We know the Americans with Disabilities Act like it's written on our arm. We know it. I suggest you know it, so that when you're in that situation where the handler is being discriminated against, you have the knowledge to stick up for them. And this isn't just in a public setting. This is in family settings too, because I know some of you guys have families who aren't supportive of your significant other's choice to have a service dog. So I'm not going to tell you to be mean to your mom, but stick up for your person, because we need that support. Again, going back to support, we need that support from you in regards to family. So when your family is being really negative and rude and asking really personal questions that maybe suggest that they don't need the dog or something like that, stick up for them. Be somebody who always has your person's back. And also, I forgot to say this. When you're in public, and so I did say, if you don't like confrontation, that's okay. There's some tips for that, like reading the ADA and stuff like that. For those of you who are more comfortable with confrontation, don't become belligerent. If you become belligerent in public, that will give them even a better reason to kick you guys out. And if the cops come, they can say, well, he's being aggressive, so that's why I'm kicking them out. So make sure you're not becoming belligerent, you're not becoming aggressive with anything, with your body language or words or whatever. Be calm, but be firm and stick up for your handler, because we appreciate that so much, guys. I'm going to tell a little story. So we went to the zoo. It was a meetup at the zoo, and I told my boyfriend, a lot of people are going to ask questions, just a warning, because we had never, this is our first outing together, so he had never seen the public's reaction to anybody having a service dog with him. So it was probably the cutest thing I've ever seen. cutest dog I've ever seen. So a lot of people, you know, the zoo was packed. It was the Zoo Lights in Columbus, Ohio, and it was just packed. It was ridiculous. And I honestly, like, it sucked a little bit, but I enjoyed going with him and my friends and stuff. But anyway, if somebody was getting a little close and kind of looking or trying to touch or asking too many questions, now like 1 or 2 questions is one thing, but if you're going on 5, 6, 7 questions, he did this like 2 or 3 times, maybe more. I don't really remember, but he would take me and just move me and Suki to the other side of him. I have to deal with this. I'm back. So that was my cat and my dad's cat getting into it. Anyway, it was really cute. Just like that protectiveness it feels good to know that somebody who you're with is there and going to protect you and stick up for you and support you through anything. And that's huge for us. So remember that, please. This is probably the hardest one to talk about and to deal with. So what I'm talking about here is the transition from normal life to life with a disabled service dog handler. Because when you're with a handler, like for the most part, everything's pretty much normal, but there are things like family, social outings, events, even going to the grocery store or the post office is going to be different. It's going to be a little harder to deal with sometimes. And you have to decide early in the relationship if this is even for you, if you're going to be able to handle it, if you're going to be able to accept this life. So if you're not sure, or if you're somebody who has been in a relationship for a while with somebody whose health is declining and they need to get a service dog, and you're not sure how to handle that decision, or you know, if you're not sure if you can even stay, or if you're finding yourself telling this person that you don't agree with it or you don't want a dog, I would probably go to therapy. You would want to consult a professional in any serious relationship issues. So, you know, when you're going from normal life to life with somebody whose health is declining, I mean, that can be really difficult. I had to do it. It's what ultimately caused, you know, my ex to leave, and that's fine because, like I said, I have an amazing boyfriend right now. But the therapy is something that really gave me insight on how he was feeling and how his perspective of things. And I think if you're open, he wasn't open. If you're open to the shift, you guys can work together to do this and make this relationship work, because it's worth it. It really is. You guys are worth it. Now, if you're entering a relationship with somebody who already has a service dog, and I guess this goes for everybody, don't try to fix them. So you have to make that transition ultimately. There's no like, they don't make them transition from being a handler to normal life. Do not do that, okay? We've already tried to fix ourselves, probably for years. I know for me it was for years. I struggled with mental health and passing out and seizures and dissociation, and I just didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. So we've already tried to fix ourselves through whatever means, and you know, when you try to fix somebody, it's kind of telling them that they're not okay the way they are, and the way they're living their life isn't okay, and that's not true. So don't try to fix us, even if your intentions are good. You have to make the transition, and that's really important to know. And maybe there's a middle way that you guys can meet, but for the most part, you're gonna have to be the one to make the compromise, because they're the ones who are disabled, and you have to expect these things to happen, like taking longer at grocery stores and dealing with people telling you can't bring the dog in and things like that. No matter how inconvenient it might get, you have to be the one to transition. And that sucks. It really does. But it's worth it. And I think I'm making it sound a lot worse than it is. And maybe it's just because my previous relationship was a really rocky transition to the point where it was horrible. It was really, really bad. So that's why I think I'm making it sound really bad. But I think for the most part, it's completely fine. Like, for the most part, you're just walking alongside your handler and their dog, and that's it. Not a whole lot to it, but you have to take it seriously. So yeah. Hi. He came to say hi. Come here. Come here. Ace. He doesn't want to. This is why you're a washout. I think that's your new theme. Anyway, the last thing I want to go over is about the service dog itself. You have to remember, it is a service dog. This is not a pet. All right, so if you're waiting at the doctor's office, you don't like nonchalantly reach down to pet. You know, this is not something that people understand all the time when they're entering a relationship with a handler. They think that they're like in their handler's bubble so that they can touch and give commands and stuff. You can't. And I mean, if your handler says it's okay, but for the most part, don't touch the dog when you're out. Don't talk to the dog. Don't interact with the dog. Interact with your handler and be on your way. And the same thing goes for, you know, everywhere you go. And don't there's no, you know, competition for like attention or, you know, because I think we have to focus on these dogs. A lot of us owner train. We train the dogs ourselves. So, you know, if you find us always giving this dog attention, the dog is always giving attention to us, don't feel like you have to like compete with the dog. The dog is there for us for a reason. It's not that we don't love the dog more than you. We just need the dog. So make sure to, you know, go over the rules and expectations with your significant other so that they can know, that you can know what is expected from you and all of that. I mean, for the most part, you feed them, walk them like a pet. So, all right. I didn't mean for this video to be super long, but you guys are awesome. It's Service Dog Universe. Subscribe, like this video, share it, and I love you. Bye-bye.